Hello everyone. Welcome to our animated philosophy series, where we explore timeless concepts in a modern context. Today, we're going to dive into the mind of one of the 20th century's most influential philosophers, Sir Alfred Jules Ayer, and explore his major contributions to logical positivism, specifically his focus on the empirical basis of knowledge. Ayer is best known for his 1936 book Language, Truth, and Logic, which introduced many English-speaking philosophers to logical positivism. So, what exactly is logical positivism? It's a philosophical movement that emphasizes the idea that only statements that can be empirically verified have meaning. This means if a statement cannot be tested or observed in the real world, it is essentially meaningless. Ayer was one of the key figures to advocate this position, and in doing so, he challenged traditional philosophical and religious claims. At the heart of Ayer's work is the verification principle. This principle asserts that for a statement to be meaningful, we must be able to verify it through sensory experience. So, when we talk about knowledge, Ayer's approach requires that this knowledge be grounded in what we can observe and measure. In Language, Truth, and Logic, he systematically breaks down this idea, arguing that any statement which can't be empirically tested is devoid of meaning, whether it's a theological statement about the existence of God or a metaphysical one about the nature of reality. Now, let's pause and think about that for a moment. What does Ayer mean by empirically tested? Well, he's talking about the idea that we gain knowledge through our experiences, what we can see, hear, touch, taste, and so on. Ayer and other logical positivists believe that the only reliable way to gain knowledge is through observation and evidence. If you can't confirm something through direct or indirect observation, then according to Ayer, that statement simply doesn't hold any value. This is one of the reasons why Ayer rejected metaphysical claims. Metaphysics, which often deals with concepts beyond our physical reality, like what is the ultimate nature of the universe? Or do souls exist, was dismissed by Ayer as nonsensical. Because these kinds of statements can't be confirmed or denied by observation, they can't be verified. Ayer argued that engaging with these sorts of questions might feel intellectually stimulating, but ultimately they don't lead to any meaningful knowledge. Similarly, theological claims about God or the divine also fall into this category for Ayer. If a statement like God exists can't be tested or observed, then it's not something we can genuinely say is meaningful. It's not that Ayer was strictly an atheist, but rather that he argued theological claims don't fit within the realm of what he saw as meaningful discourse because they can't be verified. To help clarify this, let's use a practical example. Suppose you want to know whether a certain scientific theory is true, say for instance, the theory of gravity. Now, gravity is something we can test through observation. We can measure how objects fall, calculate the force involved, and consistently observe its effects. In Ayer's view, this is the kind of knowledge that holds value because it's grounded in empirical evidence. Contrast that with a claim like the universe has a purpose. According to Ayer, there's no observable way to confirm or deny this claim. It can't be tested. So as far as he's concerned, it's a meaningless statement in the context of philosophy. Ayer also argued for scientific realism, the view that the world described by science is the real world, as opposed to a world described by intuition, religion, or metaphysics. This position aligns with the logical positivist emphasis on empirical verification. Science is a method through which we gain real, reliable knowledge about the world because it uses observation and experimentation. Ayer believed that scientific theories, when tested and verified through empirical methods, provide a true picture of reality. He was deeply committed to the idea that scientific inquiry was the best, and really the only way to gain meaningful knowledge. Now let's apply this to a more everyday example. Imagine you're a student conducting a chemistry experiment to determine how heat affects the solubility of salt in water. You could make predictions and assumptions, but what really matters for Ayer is the evidence you gather from the actual experiment. You measure the temperature, observe how much salt dissolves at different levels of heat, and record your findings. This process of testing and observation is what leads you to meaningful conclusions. It's not enough to simply theorize. Ayer wants us to observe and verify. This empirical approach is what distinguishes logical positivism from many earlier forms of philosophy, which often speculated about abstract concepts without necessarily tying them to observable facts. For Ayer, such abstract thinking without an empirical foundation is a dead end. He called for a clear distinction between what could be known and verified through experience and what could not. In this way, Ayer contributed to a radical shift in how philosophers approach knowledge, moving away from metaphysical speculation toward a more scientific and rigorous understanding of the world. In conclusion, Ayer's contributions to logical positivism, especially through his verification principle and his rejection of metaphysical and theological claims, profoundly shaped modern thought. He reminded us that knowledge must be tied to the empirical world, to what we can test and observe. His defense of scientific realism continues to influence how we understand reality today, encouraging us to ground our beliefs in observable facts and evidence. His ideas may seem strict or limiting, but they were designed to clear away confusion and help us focus on what can actually be known. Thanks for joining this discussion on Ayer and his fascinating contributions to logical positivism. Next time, we'll look deeper into other aspects of logical positivism. But for now, remember that for Ayer, the key to meaningful knowledge is simple: verify, 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 verify. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights into similar echoes.